So exercise 13, we're going to be now making a room that's going to be 15 units in height, 13 units in length, and 20 units now in depth. And we're going to include 3 figures, and we're going to include a couple of hatches, and we're going to be using the rules of perspective number 1 and number 2 and number 4 with a declined vanishing point. Okay, so let's get to that. Let's start out now. So the first thing we want to do is set up our fundamentals for now. So we're going to set in our horizon line. I'm still going to be using units that are going to be a 1/2 inch. Just FYI. So use what is best for your measurements. If you're on the metric system, definitely use that. So I will lay in now our horizon line, which is also our de facto for now, still our eye level. And let me bring this across again with my extra ruler here, since it's a little shorter than the length of my paper. Right in through there. I could bring my paper over to the edge of my drawing board, which is not too far over. Here's my T-square, lock it in, but I like to have a little extra just to get that paper on the center of the camera. That's important, so there's no any kind of distortion. That's important. Now, again, my paper length is 24 inches, so I'm going to establish our center point, which will help establish our center of vision. That will be 12 inches in from the end of my paper, which, yeah, you can see. Okay, so 12 inches. Here's our center point along our eye line, right, which is our fundamental number 2, which is also, again, our horizon line 2 as well. Okay, so let's bring down now our center of vision. Okay, just we'll need it here all the way through. Get used to your setup, and then later on you can relax that. You just know it's intuitively there. Unless you need to do measuring and scaling, then you'll need a ground measuring line, and you'll need a center vision too as well at times. All right, so we'll bring down center vision all the way down. Now our elevation for this exercise, let's see in my notes, is going to be 9 feet. So I'm going to put the elevation, ELV, over here. Elevation is going to be at 9 units tall. So we know now that our eye, again, remember, is locked now on 9 units tall, which is where our horizon line is. Okay, so that's our first order of business. Going to bring down, then we know that at least where our ground line is for the front of our room, we're going to bring the elevation down 9 units. Okay, so from our center point. So I'm going to line up my measuring device, my ruler, and we're going to use 1/2 inch measurements. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 right there. So that's where the ground line, measuring line, will be for the start or the front of our room. I'm going to put a nice long horizontal line because we're going to need a lot as well. Then I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 more units and put our station point there. So I'm going to go 4 more units from 9, which will be a total of 13 from the center point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll put our station point here, our little male or our little female right here, depending upon your gender, right there. So if you're a female, it'll be a female. Maybe she'll have a ponytail. Here's the buttock, and then little feet coming out, and that's our station point. And that's our third setup. We could also set up and just show our cone. Why don't we do that? We'll just make a mark where the cone is. I won't draw the entire cone out, but we'll do that again just to show you. So again, remember, 30 degrees from either side of the station point out to the horizon line, or our eye line in this case as well. So there's 30 degrees. There's a 30-degree mark here. There's where our cone is, and through here what will come out. We'll do it on the other side here. 30 degrees, line it up on our center of vision to our station point, and then we'll just, whoops, let me make sure it's straight. Sometimes it'll slide on you. Work on your holding of your ruler skills, right? right there. There's our cone. So this would be our cone from 13 units, and then four units in our station point from our ground line of our measuring line into our room. And of course we would come out like this all the way up 13 units looking down into. So this represents us out here, and also flap down, turn down, it represents our two-dimensional flatter view of us there. Okay, so that takes care of that. All right, now let's take care of our room. Let's get our height and our length, and then we'll worry about our depth after that. So let's do some more scaling. Here's our center of vision, so let's put that at 0. I like to set that at 0, and let's lay out some units both left and right. I'll just start right, and I'm going to put a bunch of marks. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Of course, this is on the ground line. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's plenty. Let's do the same thing over here on the other side, on the left side. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So that's pretty good. So we're going to start at 0. Now the width of our room, we're going to make 13 units. So I'm going to keep this a little bit off center. So we're going to make 6 units. We're going to make it 6 units on the right side and 7 units on the left side. So I'm going to mark out 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So here's where a vertical line would go up at 6 units over, right here and up. So we're way past 9. There's 9 here. And then we'll go 7 units on the other side. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units on the other side to give us a grand total of 13 units. Okay, right there and up. So we're going to be just inside the cone, which works out nicely for us. Okay. Now something to note: we're going to have a room later on when we get to the depth that's going to be 20 units deep. But wait a minute, so we only have 13 across here. How do we do that? Oh, I'm going to show you. All right, so now we need to scale up from the top up. We know this is 9 already, so we have 9 units here. If you want to scale these, we probably need them anyway, so we'll go ahead and scale up. So we need it, our height will be 15 units high. Okay, so we're going to scale these up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Horizon line, eye level 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and now 15. So that's 15 units now in height right there. So now we know where to bring our horizontal over. Let me get my head out of the way, line this up. There we go. So we can bring our horizontal over to there, right, to the end of the room. It's essentially like drawing a square, isn't it? Totally. It is in that sense. So let me now erase off these extra lines. Use my trusty eraser shield. I love this thing. They're very cheap. Go get one. They're wonderful. And I'll erase off these lines. Keep this a little clean. Work on your craftsmanship for everybody. My students at NKU and everybody else out there in YouTube land, very important to always have excellent craftsmanship when it calls for precision. Sometimes in expressive drawings, it's just the opposite. So there's always rules to that. Okay, now let's create our depth. So we can already create depth from each corner of our room, or the box, if you will, back to the vanishing point. Our vanishing point, 1 point perspective, is right there. There's our VP. Okay, we have that there. So let's go back to the vanishing point there. Okay, and there. And from each corner of the room back to the vanishing point here. Okay, don't go through the vanishing point outwards, just go to the vanishing point from each corner of the room. That starts to create our depth. Okay, now we have a problem because we need a room, since it's 15 by 13 by 20, right? Let me put that down here so we'll see it. So it's 15 units tall. So 15 units in height, 13 units in length, and it's going to be 20 units in depth. We don't have 20 units. We only have 13 by my count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, if we keep going, we can get to 20. We have 13, we need 7 more. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So make sure that's 20, maybe one off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 units total. It's just 0 to 13 from our center point over. So 13 and 7 is 20 total units. I'll put that down there so I don't want you to get confused. Now, what are we missing? We're missing a measuring point at 45 degrees. So we need to add that in. So we'll take our trusty 45, 45, 90, and we'll put a 45 degree measuring point from our station point, right? Line up our triangle along the center of vision here down to the station point where that ends and the angle begins anew. That's our 45 degree measuring point. Bingo. It comes out at 45 right there. And where it touches, that little dot right there, that's our 45 degree MP for measuring point. All right, so now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with gas. So what's our next move? Well, my next move is to sharpen my pencil since it's getting a little dull. I got to go back and sharpen my Redmond. We'll do that in a moment. Okay, so now we can take from our 20 units wide, see it goes outside the room. So it's not a perfect square, right? It's more of a hallway type experience. So we've got more depth than we do length or height. Rooms are not perfect cubes. My office in here, you can't see all over it, but it's not a perfect cube. It's slightly more of a rectangle. So lots of rooms are. Now, from our 20th measuring unit, we'll go back to the 45, line that up. So we're lining up our 45 degree measuring point, okay? So be careful when you do this. It's not on this one, it's on this back cornered unit. That's important to know coming across. So we come across here with our 20th unit right here. I'll draw a line all the way through, and where it touches right there, that's the back of our room in perspective. Okay, I'm going to pull in our camera a little bit so we can get a little closer and see this a little bit better. I'm going to take up everything off right there. I think is, let's see, keep going a little bit so you can really see it. There we go. Now you can see a little bit better. So now from that 20th unit, right, 13 and 7 is 20. We had to go to the outside. Draw back to the 45 degree measuring point where it touches our depth line, our convergence line, or our diminishment. That's where the end of the room is. So now we can just bring over our horizontal, okay, right here. Bring our horizontal over to it touches the other diminishment line, and now we can bring them up to the other diminishments and over to give us a nice, true now 13 by 15 by 20 foot deep room that we can start to add more figures and components to in our composition. Okay, here, and I'll bring this over to there. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we have room. I'm going to darken these corners a little bit to make sure that they're really coming out. So I have to draw everything a little darker for you so the camera picks it up here, here, and there. Okay, and then also down here as well, here and there as well. Okay, great. Now what we want to do is start scaling our room. Remember how we did that with exercise 12? We're in 13 now. So now we have 15 units high, right? By 13 units across, correct? And then I'm going to put a 20 out here going back to the vanishing point, and that's 20 units deep. So now we have everything that we need, and we can prove that later on by the square units that we'll make as well. Okay, so let's go now and make our squared referencing units so we can start putting more information in our composition. So I'll start scaling back to the vanishing point all the way through. I'm just going to draw to the end of the room. This is building on our last project. Pretty easy here. Really nothing's new really. We're just doing a more complex situation a little bit here. The trick is to get you, that's not a trick, the goal is to get you to practice perspective so that you can see it in everyday life and relax and draw simple form or draw relaxed perspective in sketching, and then when you have something that's imaginary or really difficult, you can go to linear perspective, formal as well. But it all starts from the formal right there. All right, so we have now 13 units across. Okay, right? Yep. So now we're going to bring, bring these to the wall. Excuse me, little brain freeze there. To the wall here. Bring our 15 over to the vanishing point. I was thinking about depth before we had these. Something doesn't look right here. And just keep on going. Take our time. Take your time. Don't be sloppy. You don't have to follow me. These could be erased. These could be really, really clean. Keep it ultra clean as best you can. There. And there. And here we go. All right. And over there. Okay. There we go. We keep on going. A couple more here. We've got it. Then we'll work on our depth. And last one right there. All right. So we've got units. Now we need our horizontals coming back, so we can start to now do that with our units. Starting either way you want, you can do them. You can work on them from, really from anywhere. You can do both sides. We could have a measuring point over here if you like going this way. Well, we'll keep going on this side, and we'll start in over here. I saw one thing that I made a mistake on. Hope anybody caught it. This should be 11 right here. It's actually correct units. I just made that 12 and not 11. All right. So always double checking. I'm going to sharpen my red pencil here. Okay. And then we're going to go back to the 45-degree measuring point, which is kind of a vanishing point too. And so we're going to go from 12, line it up, and remember where it makes a mark. I'm not going to draw all the lines because they're going to get in the way, but right here, along the wall where the wall meets the floor, we'll make a mark there. Okay. Then I'll come over and do the same thing. I'll let you see that. Red line here. Okay. And then I'll pull out. So let you see the next one. As long as you're lining up your ruler, that was 12. We have another one here. There's another mark there. We'll have 20 units across. So this will take a little while. And there. And they'll get a little wider as we start to come towards us in space. Okay. Remember, we're at an elevation of 9 feet. So we're 9 feet tall, which is pretty high. So we're up pretty high. Now I'm on my 8th mark. There. Okay, my 7th mark. Going in. There. My 6th mark. I'm back in my room, so I have 13 to go. There. And there. And 11. And now we're halfway across. That should be about the center line point of it. There. Okay. Because if we're 20 units deep, half of 20 is 10. Then we're there. Okay. Okay, and then we have there. And here. We just keep on going through, getting closer. It's a little bit wider now. It's a little bit easier to manage, right? And there. Right, and one more. There we go, back in. All right, now we can start to bring our units over. Keep your pencil really, really sharp. So let's start now from forward and go back. Make it a little bit easier. Line up that ruler nice and tight to the end of that mark, over. There's 1 unit. Now we're gonna prove there are 20. There's 2 units, right, of measurement, or tile floors if you want. There's 3 units. There's 4 units. There's 5 units. And I'm going to resharpen at 10. There's 6 units. There's 7 units. There's 8 units. There's 9 units. And then there's 10, which will get us to the center of the room. And we'll prove that too in a moment. So look how uncentered it looked. This is halfway through the room. That's what foreshortening is and does. That's another provable thing with perspective and how foreshortened this room is now looking into it. So I'm sharpening up my pencil. We're halfway there in terms of our length going into the depth of our, back to our vanishing point. So I sharpened that up, cleaned that up a little bit, and I'm back for my last 10 units. Okay, so I'll keep going. Right there on this mark, the red mark. So that's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 in the back is 20. So they're nice 20 units. So let's find our centering X too, just to show you how this works. So from each corner, right in through there, I'll draw a center line through. And the same thing over through here. Make sure I'm on. That's pretty good. Right through there. And right to there. Bingo, at 10 units. And of course we're off center 1, which we should be. So there's our direct center of our room. Of course we knew that already, right? Because we can do a centering X, we already have our tiles. Now, we can also put now our verticals up too as well. So let's do that. And then we can start putting figures in our composition too. We can scale them without referencing, or we can reference. We can do both now, since we have such an exacting room. So we have 22 horizontals to make. There's 2. Okay. There's 3. There's 4. There's 5. Again, you can go all around the room if you want, but I don't find a need for it for now. Again, if you're drawing or sketching, you could do this on tracing paper, or you could do a drawing like this and retrace it, resketch it in relaxed perspective. Just be accurate, line up your marks, because they start to get very, very tiny the deeper that you go in your composition. You can see they're getting squeezed. I'm going to resharpen now for craftsmanship effect. Here we go. Okay, nice and sharp pencil. We'll come back and do the last remaining ones here. There. And you keep going. Look how tight they're getting. And the last one. Look at that, all the way through. Okay, nice. So we have nice scaling for our room. Now we're going to put a couple of figures in. I'm going to put one figure first, at 6 feet tall. So I'm going to put down here next 3 6-foot figures. Okay, they're all going to be 6 feet tall. So we're going to put him about one from the center line, center point here, not ground on the center line actually. 1, 2, 3, about 3 units to the left, okay, and according to my notes, 1, 2, about 3 units in. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put a dot right there for where we want him, okay, and then I'm going to draw our vertical line up. He's 6 feet tall. So what I can do is come across here now and find where it meets the ceiling of the left wall and come up now 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there. Now I can kind of bring a mark over from that point right there. Let's kind of line up where I see right in through there. Draw a vertical up, and that's where our figure is going to be. At 6 feet tall, right there. That's going to be a 6 foot tall human right there. So let's go ahead and draw one out, and we'll kind of sketch out something here. So let me bring my chair back over so I can get down here a little bit better, and we'll draw a figure, and you can follow along with mine, or you can do whatever you want. I'm just going to keep it a very simple kind of figure in through here. Maybe kind of like a C3O character, or just a very simple kind of figure form. So we've got the head in through here, maybe ears coming in through here, maybe the shoulder line in through here in this region, and then we'll come over and build kind of the torso up this way like so, and I'll color it in a little bit so you can see it as we go along. So this will be an accurate 6 foot figure, scaled and measured, and we'll put his waist, his pelvic region will be here, and we'll put on a leg, maybe here, along that point. Maybe one will be out a little bit, slightly a little bit further, like so. There we go. And then calf down, calf to foot, kind of in through here, like so. And then we'll put the rest of it down. There we go, at 6 foot, and then we'll maybe arm and hand gesture here, maybe slightly coming at us, a little bit of foreshortening, like so. Then maybe sort of resting on his hip or pelvic region. More like the hip, actually. There we go. Okay, little chest right through there. So we have our first now 6 foot figure in our composition. Okay, so let's stay there for a moment. The next thing I want to add in our composition is a hatch. Okay, so I'm going to put hatch over here, and I want the hatch to be, let's see, 5 units wide. So I'm going to put 5 units wide, and I want it to be 7 units deep, and we're going to make it, this is where we get into rule number 4, I'm going to make it 3 units on the decline. So that's something you haven't seen before, and we're going to put it over here. So we're going to start at 0, and we're going to go into the picture 1, 2 units, and then over 1. I'm going to put a dot there. Okay, so we've got that. And then we're going to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units wide. So from here going to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units wide right there. So we're going to darken that in a little bit right there. Okay, we'll darken that in. And now we want to make it 7 units deep in our composition. All right, so let's go 7 units now deep back to the vanishing point. So I'll line up back to the VP from our corner here. 7 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right there, and then I'm going to line up and make this darker right through there. Okay, so we just bring it across right there, 7 units deep, 5 wide now in perspective, and then back to the vanishing point for our depth on the right side. Right there. There we go. Okay, so we have that. Now, I want to go about 3 units deep and put a vanishing point. I'll show you. So we're going to make a decline. We're going to make this hatch. If we looked at it from a side view over here, so if we had a hatch here, make sure that's in the camera. Yeah, we're going to pretend like if we're looking into this from a plane view to the side of it coming in, we're going to put this hatch down a little bit so you could kind of walk down it a little bit. So there might be a figure doing something like this, walking. That head's a little big, but you get the idea. Walking down this way, and this thing could open more if we wanted to. So that's the idea. Oh, good, you couldn't see the head because it's really bad. Excellent. All right, so let's put our vanishing point down. So let's go 1, 2, 3 units here. 3 units down from the vanishing point, and that's where I'm going to put and shoot for these 2 back angles here and here from the left and right back to this vanishing point. So let's do that in blue so you can see that a little bit better. So from the back corner here to this new vanishing point here and here, okay, right there. Okay, so we've got that down. And now we're going to bring this hatch down 3 units in depth, or 3 tiles in perspective. 1, 2, and 3 right there. I'm just counting from here. 1, 2, 3 unit tiles, and we'll count down, and then we'll just bring them now down and across right through there. So it's important to know, I just counted down, we were going 3 tiles, 3 units down, 3 tiles down where we stopped, where they came through, and now we have a hatch. Now what I'm going to do here is to make it a little bit better, and I'm going to come in really deep so you can see this even better. So let's come on in, this is as far as I can go. Let's see how far I can go. That way you can see it a little bit, even a little bit better. I'm going to put a little bit of a thickness on this floor where it goes into the ground and through here. Not very much. I'm just going to put a little vertical line. I better do it properly. That's the point of doing this right here. Little vertical line there, and you just see a little one over here over in a horizontal line just to show I've got some thickness to that floor. Now watch this. Now from this corner we use our normal vanishing point on our floor, not our incline anymore, and so we'll come back over right in through there, and you can see where the declined platform overlaps that now a little bit. So let me darken that in so you can see what I'm talking about. Right in through here. Okay. Should get a little bit of opening right there where you'd see that. And I'll go ahead and darken that in over. Okay, and then through here. Right there, and now we get that hatch. So now we have a hatch that's on the decline. This is important because we're going to put another figure, right, another 6-foot figure right here, but it's got to be just a little bit shorter, right? Not by a whole lot, but perceptually, aesthetically speaking, just a little shorter. Why? Because that hatch is now on a slight decline. So let's do that now. Let me sharpen up my pencil, and let's put him now, or her. Let's make it a female at 6 foot tall. Same height, just different gender. There we go. Sharpen up really, really cleanly, very, very important. All right, so we're going to put our next figure now right here along this ground line right there, okay? And since it's on the same ground line, this line would be the same. That would be a normative 6 foot figure in our composition. Remember, we're looking down slightly. Well, how do we know that? Because remember, our elevation is at 9 feet. So our eyes are locked in at 9, looking down. Maybe we're on a platform. Okay, so here, from the headline here, the height line, there's another line for 6 feet. I'm going to make this figure a little bit shorter. I'm going to make a mark right there just as a guess. It's a good educated guess. Why? Because, again, they're on this declined plane going down. And now the more units we decline in our vanishing point, the further and further and further this hatch goes down. Like back up, well, to our other drawing. Over here we have essentially a hatch that's doing about this right now, right? We could continue to take it over if we wanted and over and have a hatch that's really, really low, but I don't want to do that. So she's going to be a little bit, since she's still 6 foot, she's just going to be just a little bit shorter than the male counterpart, only because she's just a little bit on a decline over. I mean, that's rule number 4 in perspective. So let's put her here, and maybe she's in slight profile, something like that. I'll just color these in. Maybe we've got a little hair bun or ponytail or something back over and through here. And let's see, let's do something. What do we want to do here? Okay, midsection buttock in here. There we go. Okay, so we'll do sort of a profile and an arm coming out, maybe like this, hand and arm, and then we'll get her leg over to really darken her in and graphite through there, and then over, and then the calf to the foot back through there, and there we go. There's where she would be standing, right in through there. So just perceptually just a little bit shorter, and of course if we close that hatch, then that hatch is going to be obviously closed in here and would be as tall as her male counterpart. Now let's put one more figure in the very back of the room, and let's put that figure right here. Now we could again mark our figure up and over, but I'm just going to put it on line number 2. It's just fine, and 18 over here, wherever it is. And I'm just going to draw a construction line up here, and as high as I want. But now I'm just going to reference using what we've learned earlier in our perspective study. So I'm going to drop a line from his bottom line through our figure here, which is going to make back on the horizon line, right, another measuring point. You guessed it, right there. So we're going to put that there through the bottom. There's another reference point, RP, and then I'm going to go through the top of his head back to the reference point here and over, and where that touches this line right there, there's the foot line, there's the height line for our 6 foot figure. And if you don't believe me, go over and double check it, and you'll find that it's pretty accurate to about a 1/16 because of your pencil thickness to the figure. So this is a 6 foot figure in now our room 2 as well, going back in space, and it's still just barely in the room. Why? Because we know he's standing inside of it. Just be careful to put your figures, make sure your figures are always and completely in your room. That's going to be very, very important, unless there's some reason why they're not and the rim is not opaque. So maybe he's carrying, I don't know, something, a backpack or something, I don't know. Okay, so we got another 6 foot figure back there with with a nice hatch. Okay, so we've got, I think, everything we need for this exercise. We've got another room. Now we've put 3 6-foot figures. We could put a carpet. Let's put maybe a couple of 2-point little carpet things in our drawing. Let's pull out a little bit, make it a little bit more complex. And so we'll take a wider view again. We'll come back out. There we go. Okay, and so let's set in now a little, let's say like a big piece of paper or something is on the ground, and we need to figure out, it's kind of fell down. Of course, it's a piece of paper has got a right angle to it, 90-degree angle. So let's say that paper on the ground, a little important scroll, is about right here in perspective. So here's the angle that we want. Well, how do we find the 90-degree angle over here? So we can take this angle, and then we can go back to the horizon line here, make a mark. That'll be a left vanishing point. Okay. Then from this point, right, remember that from our last lesson, back to our station point right here. Okay, we have that. Now we need 90 degrees, okay, 90 degrees out of our station point, back to our eye level or our horizon line. So here's our 90-degree angle. We'll set that back up. We'll lay it on the station point, lay it on our left vanishing point line, coming out from us, our station point, back out to our horizon line, and right there where they touch, that's our right vanishing point. That is the vanishing point now for our piece of paper, our document that fell. I'm just going to say that, just made that up. So I'm going to put it, right here looks pretty good. Shooting for the right vanishing point, about right there. Maybe he's going to be slightly stepping on it. Maybe that'll be even better right through there. Okay, I'll end it there. Then we'll go back to, from about right here, back to the left vanishing point here. Okay. And then we'll go back out to the right vanishing point to finish it up. And my document will look, he's kind of sort of stepping on, just about right there. Okay, so maybe those are really important pieces of paper that he just dropped, and then I can put little lines for type or whatever is going on right in through there. So we've got that, okay. Let's put another one maybe over here at a different angle. So the methodology here is to use, maybe if I just sketched it out, what if I wanted an angle, what if the piece of paper was hitting just the corner of the room, so it was still on the floor, but hitting the corner of the room, and I wanted it to be like this angle. Maybe right here. Okay, I could sketch it out. Maybe it was this long, really long, like so. And maybe it covered up the hatch a little bit. It's going to be a lot longer. So right in through there, it's still in the room. Okay, it's going to the corner of the wall. So now I'll just take this angle, wherever it is, and I'll go back to the horizon line right there. So that'll be my right vanishing point. That's set in. Now what I need is this line, okay, back to my station point right here. So this line right here, back to my station point. And then out from this line at 90 degrees, okay, through the station point, from that line out at 90 degrees here, okay. Slow it down if you get confused. Right there where it touches, right there where it touches is my left vanishing point for my second piece of paper over here. All right, so how does that look? Well, let's take a look and see what that's going to give us. This is going to be, in perspective, a dropped piece of paper looking down on at an elevation of 9 feet. Here's my left vanishing point, so I'll go back here. In my left, from this corner, I go back to my left vanishing point here. And if I wanted to overlap our little hatch a little bit, we've got that working. Now we'll go back, make sure we have the vanishing point that we need. It's this one. And I'll say, okay, I want it to be about maybe this wide to the left. Go back to our right vanishing point, and that's what it's going to look like with some diminishment right there. Okay. Now I can darken that in. And now we're good to go. So maybe this is like a darker piece of paper or some kind of big document that's dropped on the floor right there. A plane of some sort. And there we go. So we used 45 degree, 45, 90, right? 45 and 45 coming in through depending upon your angle. So all you need to do is figure out the angle that you want. First of all, what I would do, and that's a very creative solution. We could put one over here, but I think it'd be more confusing. So I think we'll leave it at that. And then, again, whatever you figure out the angle you want, go back to your vanishing point with a line, then bring that line over to the station point, then bring another line at 90 degrees, and you've got your 2-point perspective vanishing point for the forms that you want. All right, exercise number 3. Once you're at this point, you've got it under your belt. Congratulations. Okay, so exercise number 14, there's 2 more exercises. I'm going to show you a table, a couple of books in a rug. It's kind of like what we're doing so far. And then our last exercise, 15, will be our most complex setup yet. So stay tuned. We've got just 2 more exercises and we'll be done with section 1 of our formal linear perspective exercises. Okay. See you real soon. Bye-bye.